September 16, 2024. It is 7:30 p.m. Notice for this meeting was published in the official newspaper, promptly posted in Borough Hall, and filed with the clerk's office in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must always be maintained. Any questions and comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision. Okay, roll call. Let's see. Mr. Barrows is not here. Mr. Bartlett?
Present.
Ms. Devine?
Present.
Ms. Zadinsky?
Here.
Mr. Campariello? Not here. Ms. Day? Not present. Mr. Santaniello?
Here.
Ms. Cobb?
Here.
And Mr. Michaelman here. Okay, next, Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, approval of the zoning board meeting minutes for August 19th, 2024. Does anybody have any additions, changes, or whatever to the minutes? No? Then may I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted? We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? The minutes are adopted. Correspondence is listed on the agenda. If anyone wishes to review the correspondence, it's on file in Steve's office. The zoning board procedures first. If anybody's here for the United Way case, they will not be heard today, so I don't want you to take your time with that. Okay, great. What happens is when someone wants to do something to their property, they have to go to Steve's office and file an application. He looks at it, and if the zoning ordinances permit it, they get their approval. If it doesn't, Steve has to deny their request, and then under certain circumstances specified in the municipal land use law, they can come before the zoning board of adjustment to ask for an adjustment to the zoning ordinances. And if they make the case, it's their burden to make the case, not ours to prove that it's proper, then they'll be granted the variance. If not, we'll deny it. It's a simple thing, and as I said before, we act in the nature of a court. Swearing in. Bob, if you would swear in Steve, please.
Sure. You swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this proceeding shall be true, so help you God.
I do.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Deppner has been sworn in connection with all four applications.
Great, thank you. Okay, now, no new cases will be started after 10:30 p.m. I hope by 10:30 p.m. we will all be safely in our residences. Next is memorializing of resolutions. Let me make sure I have them in the right order. Let's see. The first one is Miller. You all received the variances in your email. Does anybody have any changes to that? If not, may I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Yep, also move.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, that is Chris Antonio. It takes time because I have to print. I can't read my own handwriting if I try and write it, so I apologize for that. Okay, moving on down. Maureen is absent. Mr. Campariello is absent. Mr. Bartlett is okay, that's a yes. Ms. Zadinsky?
Yes.
Mr. Santaniello?
Yes.
Mr. Devine?
Yes.
Mr. Barrows is absent. Ms. Cobb?
Yes.
And Mr. Michaelman, yes. You have to sign that there. Next is the resolution on Gurvich. Once again, you received that. Does anybody have any changes, amendments, whatever? No? Then I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So move. And that's for 876-24.
Yes. Have a second?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Day is absent. Mr. Campariello is absent. Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Ms. Zadinsky.
Yes.
Mrs. Santaniello.
Yes.
Mr. Devine.
Yes.
Mr. Barrows is absent. Ms. Cobb.
Yes.
And Mr. Michaelman, yes. Okay. On that. I'm getting older, my handwriting's getting sloppier.
My name isn't getting any shorter.
Okay. It's Steve right here. And we'll get to the reason everybody's here to begin with. I'll call calendar 878-24, Caron, 545 Summit Avenue. Please come forward.
Good evening. Will you both raise your right hands, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this proceeding shall be the truth, self you got?
I do.
And could I get your name and your last name as well?
Sure. Brian Callahan, Callahan.
And you are the applicant's architect?
I am.
And he's previously been qualified in the field of
Yes.
architecture?
Yes, we do accept you as an
Sir,
expert.
can I have your full name, please?
Sure. Daniel Caron, last name Caron.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. So we have submitted plans for additions to 545 Summit Ave. There's an existing 1.5-story single-family dwelling
Excuse me,
on the property.
Brian, just one second. Mr. Camparello just arrived.
Oh, okay. It is 7:37, and Mr. Campriello is now present. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thanks. Yep. So we are proposing some additions to this existing 1.5-story single-family dwelling at 545 Summit Ave. Currently on the site, there's the 1.5-story split-level dwelling, includes a one-car attached garage. And there is a small deck at the rear, which leads to a patio at the ground level at grade. The lot is irregular in shape. It has a jog in the rear property line, and the front property line is curved. It follows the curve of Summit Ave. The site is in the R2 zone, and one of the reasons we're here is the pre-existing non-conforming conditions that are particular to this site. The first, probably most importantly, the lot is deficient in lot area, so in the R2 zone, 12,000 square feet is required. This lot has 9,637 square feet. The existing lot is 75 feet wide, where 100 feet is the minimum lot width. There's a zoning chart on the A1 sheet of the plans that were submitted that has all the flags, all the existing nonconformities. The existing front yard setback is 28.5, where 30 feet is the minimum required. The existing rear is 29.2, where 37.8 is required. And there's also side yard setback issues due to the lot width deficiency. So it is where the existing side yard is 10 feet, 15 feet is the minimum required. And finally, the combined side yard, 25.4 feet, where 35 feet is the minimum required combined side yard. So with that in mind, what we're trying to do is add on to this to make this sort of a little bit more of a livable setup. Right now, there are 2 bedrooms on the first floor, and on the second floor is a master suite. And what we're trying to do is we are trying to provide a new second floor that has all 4 bedrooms on the second floor with 2 bathrooms. On the plans that were submitted, A1 sheet has a site diagram that shows kind of where we are going with this hatched-in portion, shows the proposed second-story addition. And we're also, to make this work and to make the first floor more livable, we're going to pull the first floor towards the street about 8 feet. And that's going to be a 2-story addition at that part. On the site diagram, I have a dashed line that indicates where the line of the required setbacks are. And you can see that really the only place kind of to build on this lot is in front of the existing house. So that's what we're sort of proposing to do, and create sort of a new facade and a new front to this house. Going through the plans, the A2 sheet shows the foundation plan, and this house is on a crawl space. So that's another, there was a small sort of subsequent addition in the top right corner of A2, previous addition, that dug out a full basement behind the garage slab. But the balance of the house is on a crawl space, and the new addition would also be on a crawl space. A3 has the first floor plan. All the hatched walls are new. We'd be converting one of the rear bedrooms to an office space, taking out a closet, and just sort of opening up the first floor plan with a little bit more of an open floor plan. Also, one sort of deficiency in the house is the existing kitchen and the width of the existing kitchen. So one of the proposed additions is to add a little less than 4 feet off the back of the house to make the kitchen a little bit more usable and useful. A4 is the proposed second floor plan. It shows the existing kind of on the right-hand side, the rec room. That's the existing master suite right now, if you will. There is sort of a back stair that leads to the kitchen, so the flow is not great. So part of this addition and part of the square footage that we're asking for is to build a new stair in the new part as well to connect the new first floor to the new second floor. And A5 and A6 are the exterior elevations. The house is brick front now. The right side of it that is brick would maintain the brick, and we'd like to get some brick, maybe brick wainscot of hopefully the used brick from demo to adorn the front facade as well. And those are the two exterior elevations, are A5 and A6. So we are seeking the following variances. We have one for minimum combined side yards, 35 feet is required, and 25.4 is existing and proposed. So we're not increasing that degree of nonconformity. And the maximum floor area ratio we're asking for, too, is the second variance. So in this zone, 31% is the maximum allowable. And we are proposing an FAR of 35.8%. If this were a conforming lot of 12,000 square feet, that square footage that we're proposing would equate to about 28.7% in FAR. So in my professional opinion, I think it's a square footage that in that zone could easily occur on neighboring homes. So to sum it up, the strict application of the zone provisions of the ordinance would result in practical difficulties in this case, in that the proposed second floor would have to be sort of brought in, and we'd have to provide structure for that new second floor as opposed to trying to build on the existing exterior wall. And on this, I'm talking specifically about the rear wall and the rear yard setback. And in addition, in my opinion, I think that we're keeping within the sort of the scale, the two-story structures that are in the neighborhood and then in the surrounding zone. It does not encroach any further into the side yards or the front yard than the existing does. And even though the lot is deficient in area, we are conforming with the maximum allowable building coverage and lot coverage. For those reasons, in my opinion, the granting of the variance would not be detrimental to the public welfare. That's all I have.
Okay, and you're not going to say anything. Okay. Steve, do you have any questions?
No, Chairman.
Okay. Bob?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Does any member of the board have any questions of the witness?
No.
Okay. Does any member of the public have any questions of the witness? Not seeing a show of hands? Not seeing a show of hands, I'll close that to the public. Okay, time for deliberations. Folks, what do you think? Anybody?
I mean, to start off, I think that obviously the hardship is evident based on the small lot, and we appreciate that you didn't try to kind of overdo it as much, that, it's really, we're only looking at, the FAR variance, and as you described, if the lot wasn't undersized, you would stay within, and the fabric of the house does kind of match the rest of the block, and I think it will help, kind of bring the house to, again, the new generation and, function the way that people need. So, I'd like to hear what the rest of the board would say, but I think everything looks good.
I think the additions that you're proposing are not, out of keeping with the homes in the area. It's a challenging piece of property for the way that Summit curves right there. And so, you had sort of this pre-existing challenge to work with. But I think it's bringing, the home itself sort of into the more modern era with the changes that you've proposed. And I think it's not out of proportion with the homes in the area.
Yeah, I certainly understand the challenges of a narrow lot and a non-conforming lot. I think it's a good update to the house. I think it'll look great on the property.
Again, it looks like a great upgrade to the property, and the fact that you worked within, keeping this side, not encroaching any further on the side. Things is, a testament to trying to work within the community and, improve it without challenging, the overall lot coverages and all. So.
I agree with my fellow board members. I don't have anything to add.
By the time you get to me, I agree with everything else.
You got to sit over on that side.
Right.
Good, right?
No, the next time we start over there. And I agree. You've got the challenge of the small lot. The neighborhood does bring it into keeping with the neighborhood. I don't see it as being an offense to anybody. I see it as being only a positive. So I also am in favor of this. Okay, having said that, do I have a motion in the affirmative or negative on this? Somebody?
Yeah, I'll make a motion in the affirmative that we approve the variance on the basis that the applicant has demonstrated the appropriateness of the requested relief.
Do we have a second? Okay, Mrs. Santaniello seconds.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, who seconded it? Was Mr. Devine?
No, Mrs. Santaniello.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Mr. Devine,
Yes.
Ms. Zadinsky,
Yes.
Mr. Campariello,
Yes.
Ms. Santaniello,
Yes.
Ms. Cobb,
Yes.
and Mr. Michaelman, yes. Okay, congratulations. Just I'm required to mention to you that the approval will be reduced to a resolution at the next meeting. After that, people have 45 days within which to object to our decision. If for anything you do within that period, the expiration of the 45-day period, you're going to do at your risk, and Steve will probably stop you anyway if you try, but just wait about 2.5 months and you should be okay. But congratulations, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Mrs. Santaniello is stepping down because it's his application. So I'm going to call calendar 879-24, Santaniello, 875 Lotus Avenue.
Would you each raise your right hands, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this proceeding shall be true, so help you God?
I do.
Could I get your name, please, and you'll spell your last name?
Roseanne Santaniello.
I'm sorry, first name?
Roseanne.
And you
Kevin Spink, SP as in Peter, INK.
and you are the applicant's architect?
I am.
He's been here before, Mr. Chairman. I recommend he be deemed qualified without any further.
We do accept you as an expert witness.
Thank you.
Okay? Your case.
Good evening, members of the board and borough professionals. My name is Roseanne Santaniello. My husband, Chris, and I live with our daughter, Victoria, who is 10 at 875 Lotus Avenue. Chris and I both grew up in Oradell and have had the privilege to start our own family here and raise our daughter in a home we love. We're thankful for great neighbors and the community that Oradell is. Over the years, we've thoughtfully updated our 1938 home by modernizing the first floor layout, kitchen, garage, and master bedroom while preserving the charm that made us love the house originally. One noticeably outdated feature, however, is the Cape Cod-style roofline that faces the street, showing a visually imbalanced ratio of roof to house. It also serves to create old-fashioned sloped ceilings encroaching on the 2 front bedrooms. We're proposing to add a dormer to the front of our house to modernize and add usability to our 2 front bedrooms. It will also update the appearance of the house with the front-facing gable look that is consistent with both new construction styles and renovations in the area. The variances we request to perform this addition are all entirely within the pre-existing, non-conforming boundaries of the house with regard to side yard setback, total side yard setback, front setback, building coverage, and impervious coverage. A slight exacerbation of our existing floor area ratio nonconformity would occur due to the leveling and squaring of the front bedroom ceilings and walls by the dormer, totaling only 78 square feet of additional space. The house will be no wider, deeper, or taller than it currently is, remaining entirely within its existing footprint on the property. The hardship created by an undersized lot in the R2 zone at 7,500 square feet, where 12,000 square feet is required, is entirely responsible for the need for these variances. And we believe the current footprint of the house and similar neighborhood homes show that the property can support these variances with no detriment to the area and no negative criteria. During the careful planning of this request, we considered other alternatives. However, the next best options proved to be unfeasible. Building out over the garage to provide less cramped space in the bedrooms created a far greater FAR variance and much larger construction disturbance. And adding dog ear style dormers actually diminished usability in the 2 front bedrooms because of the disturbance in contiguous wall space with no relief of the low ceilings. We feel this attractive dormer is the best option for ourselves and future owners of the home. The change would be in harmony with the neighborhood and add both value and visual appeal. The positive criteria of this update, aside from the upgraded visual appeal of the house, which is consistent with current building trends, include the modernization of the home without the need for a tear down and new construction scenario, and the opportunity to add front-facing, code-compliant egress windows to our 2 guest bedrooms. We feel these benefits show that the positive criteria far outweigh the negative and are consistent with the intent of the borough's master plan calling for the rehabilitation of existing housing stock. With that, I'll ask our architect, Kevin Spink of Kanzani Architects, to cover specifics of the project and answer any technical questions you might have. Thank you.
I believe she summed up the whole application.
But you're going to bill her anyway.
I know, right? I'm here, I might as well do something. Okay, just walking through the zoning on this. As we stated, it is a R2 single-family zone. It is known as 875 Lotus Ave, Lot 19, Block 607. Currently, the existing property is undersized. It is 7,500 square feet, where 12,000 is required. The minimum lot width is supposed to be 100 square feet, where we only have 75, so we're much narrower than what we were supposed to be. Currently, the front yard setback measured I just want to make sure I get it to the right spot. We are measuring 21.8 feet at the front yard, and that is to the front porch itself currently, where 30 feet is required. The side yard setbacks, just make sure I get this right, side yard setbacks, where 15 is required, we have 9 on one side, and we have 10 on the other. So our total is 19 feet, where the total combined is supposed to be 35. So we're much smaller than what is supposed to be on. These are all pre-existing conditions. The height of the house is currently about 24'9", somewhere in there. We are maintaining that height as what it will be. The building coverage is supposed to be 25%. We are at 26.2 currently. The impervious coverage is 40% is required. We are at 44.2%. And the FAR is required to be 31%. We are at 35.33%. Well, as stated, what we're looking to do is to just improve the front aesthetic quality of the house by adding 2 dormers to the front, basically, and pulling the 2 rooms out. We're only pulling them out 3 foot or 2 foot 11 and a half and 3 foot 1 respectively on the 2 sides, and it creates that new on the elevation. You can see the 2 gables, and it just really accentuates the front and improves the overall aesthetic quality. Overall, those 2 dormers are only adding 78 total square feet to the house. We are aligning them up to the side of the house that is currently existing, so our setbacks will remain at 9 feet, but we are technically exacerbating it by adding a second story over the top of it. The same thing goes with the 2 side yard setback requirements. We are still identical to what is currently there. It's just exacerbating it because we are adding that second portion over the second floor. Front yard, we are not increasing the front yard. We are actually stepping it back from the front of the current house. So we are respectively 1.5 feet and 2.5 feet back from where the current front of the house is. So overall, it is the FAR. The FAR is going from 35.3% to 36.37%. We feel that the overall aesthetic quality is a significant improvement. The benefits outweigh the detriment of this, and we feel that this de minimis addition would be in kind with the neighborhood itself.
I think the phrase that I've heard in the past is an extension of a pre-existing nonconformity. Would that be?
Yes.
Okay. The next thing, is this a D variance?
Yes, it's a FAR. FARs are always a D.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
I think all our applications done are D4.
So we're going to need 5 affirmative votes. Since we don't have 7 people here, once we've given you our thoughts, and we will definitely give our thoughts, you then will have the choice as to whether you want us to bring it to a vote or not. If you choose, we could come back next meeting, and hopefully we'll have 7 voting members. So we're not going to force you into saying, oh, you got to get 5 out of 6. You got to get 5 out of 7 is what it works out to. Having said that, Steve, do you have any questions?
Nothing, Chairman.
Bob?
No questions.
Okay. Start on this end.
I have no questions.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
It all looks like it was done, again, to minimize area impact, bring up the house into a more modern front look and increase the usability of the space.
Any questions?
No questions. I like the design element of the dormers. It seems, and I appreciate that the applicants considered, alternate arrangements to think about whether or not you could do it without seeking a variance. I know the house well. I'm on Lotus fairly often. I think it's a nice improvement visually to the front without too much in terms of additions to the FAR.
Sir?
I agree with my colleague. I think it's a beautiful design. We could have easily be looking at an application with the whole second floor. So obviously there was a lot of thought into designing something, and I think the rest of the neighborhood will be happy to kind of see that visual change there. So I think it's a great job.
Well, we've gotten into comments already also, so I think the 2 of you have already made your comments, and we had a comment there. Anybody have anything else want to say?
I think it's just better to have the bedrooms not have sloped ceilings. I mean, that just adds value to the house for the future.
Exactly.
100%.
As far as I'm concerned, it's an enhancement to the house. It's going to be a benefit to the neighborhood. I don't see a negative in this design. Having of the thoughts, anything?
I'm with all of you.
Okay. All right. Having said that, do you wish us to move to a vote now?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion in the affirmative and negative on this?
Yes, I will move to approve the application for calendar item 879-24. The applicant has demonstrated that they meet the requirements for the granting of the variance.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Okay. Since we've got the variance, let's go down the list. The yay or nay?
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Yes.
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 Congratulations. You, by unanimous vote, you have your approval. And once again, we'll reduce this to a resolution at the next meeting. 45 days after that, after the 45-day period, go to it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening.
You too. All right, Chris, get back up here. Okay, while he's coming up, calendar 880-24, Thorns, 784 Clinton Avenue. We've already qualified him.
We have. Would you both raise your right hand? So I'm going to swear Mr. Callahan in again.
By all means.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give in this proceeding shall be true, self you got it.
I do.
And we have Brian Callahan, the architect, qualified. And you are Mr. Thorne?
Correct.
Full name?
Robert Thorne, Chorne.
Thank you.
Once again, your case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the property in question for this application, 784 Clinton Avenue. Currently, there is a two-story frame dwelling on the property. And there is that includes, or in that is a one-car attached garage. And the site is in the R3 zone, and there are several pre-existing non-conforming conditions, which is why we're here. It is 6,300 square feet in area, where the minimum in the R3 zone is 9,000 square feet. The lot is 63 feet wide, where 75 feet is the minimum required. The existing side yard setback is 7 feet, where 10 feet is the minimum required, which speaks directly to the lot width deficiency. And the existing combined side yards are 16.5, where 25 feet is the minimum required. And I'll direct your attention to the plans that were submitted. A1 sheet has the zoning data on there. And there is a little area that is hatched to the right side of that site diagram that right now under there it says 1 story. So the surveyor showed that piece of the house currently is a 1-story section. So we want to build above that, and we also want to build into the side yard a little bit more to make those spaces a little bit more usable. So we have basically a sliver of a 2-story addition and then mostly a 2nd-story addition above that. We are also proposing a covered entry. So there is an existing masonry platform and stair at the front of at the front door. And that is currently basically non-conforming. It's only 22.3 feet from the front property line, where 25 feet is the minimum required. We're proposing just to put columns and a roof over that. It would be open, but it would just be a covered space at the front door. So with let me go through the drawings again, if I may. A2 is the first floor plan. This area on the right side is currently on a crawl space, and the proposed addition would be on a crawl space. So we're looking just to add 3.5 feet. 3 feet 6 inches is the hatched part on the right side of A2. Sort of makes that family room a little bit more usable. It's a little bit on the narrow and long side now. And you can see at the bottom of the page, the 2 columns that are colored in would be the new covered porch posts. A3 is the 2nd floor plan. So currently, right now, in the where it says hall and those 2 closets below it, that is a small 3rd bedroom on that floor. And we sort of would carve that up as a hallway to enter the new addition, which would consist of, on the 2nd floor, a small office and a small bedroom. A4 and the 2nd floor total square footage that we're proposing is under 300 square feet, 293 square feet. A4 and A5 depict the 2 exterior elevations, 2 of the exterior elevations, the south and the east. A5 are the other 2 elevations, and we also included A6, which was some perspective views of the 3D model. So with that, we are seeking the following variances. We need a front yard setback variance for our covered porch. Again, the structure is there. We would just be putting posts and a roof on that. We're also looking for a variance for a side yard setback. So the minimum is 10. We are proposing 6. And again, the lot width is only 63 feet. Minimum of both side yards, of course, is another variance we'd be going for. 25 feet is required. Currently, it's 16.5, and we're looking for 13 would be our proposed combined side yard. And finally, the FAR, which has been popular tonight, we're proposing 33% is what is permitted in this particular zone. We were proposing 39.6. Again, if this were a conforming lot, this FAR would be 27.7%. Or to put it another way, you could have in this zone 2,970 square feet of floor area. We're proposing 470 square feet less than that. If strict application of the ordinance was required here, we really wouldn't be able to add on to anything here. Again, in my opinion, it's keeping in with the two-story scale of the surrounding structures in the neighborhood. And again, even though we are deficient in or asking for relief in floor area, we are conforming with, we are under the maximum allowable building coverage and under the maximum allowable lot coverages. So for these reasons, I would ask for the granting of the variance.
Nothing? Okay. Well, this is a FAR, so it's a...
Yes, D4.
So we need 5 again.
5 out of 7.
Once you've heard what we have to say, you'll just tell me whether you want us to proceed to a vote. Steve, do you have any questions?
Yes. I don't know whether you mentioned it, Brian, or not. Do you know the distance to the neighboring house on the east side?
I know that there's a driveway there, so I would say, and you can see there's a little dashed line on the right-hand side of the survey on A1, and there is a frame garage in that back right corner of the neighboring property on Lot 7. So I would say it's at least a driveway width plus a little bit there. It might be at least 15 feet, I would say.
Okay, but there's a garage there. It's not living space at this time?
Well, no, the garage is in the back corner of the property. I was just pointing that out to show that there's a driveway that leads to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I take it the neighbor was given notice, and if they had a problem, they'd be able to be here. They're not here today?
They are not. We did advise.
Okay. Bob, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Any member of the board have any questions?
Was there any other consideration given to increase the property space without further encroaching on the side properties, closer to your neighbors' houses?
Yep, so right now, the layout of the house, we can see on the A2 sheet, there's a stair that goes along the back wall of the house that is sort of left to right across the page here. So anything sort of in the back there, kind of, that stair kind of bifurcates any flow in terms of spaces that we might have back there that might be internal buildable spaces. So our thought was there already is a family room here. We thought that the a more economical solution, albeit we're here, would be to expand that family room and minimize our sort of footprint expansion rather than build another space behind there.
Any other questions? Any member of the public have any questions? Not seeing a show of hands, I'll close the meeting to the public. Okay, I'll start this time. Given the lot and all that, this seems to cry out for what you're doing now. I remember when Oradell used to be called the family town. We had it on signs and everything, remember? Well, if you want a family, you have to have what you're proposing. So I think this, again, the size of the property, the needs that one expects in the 21st century, it cries out for this. That's my opinion on that. Anybody on the board have anything else they want to add?
Well said, Chairman.
Say that again?
I said well said, Chairman.
Thank you. Yes, I get paid by the word.
And the front exterior balances out, the way it's designed. Makes the front of the house
Yeah,
look much
no,
nicer.
it's a very attractive design. Okay, then Do you wish us to proceed to a vote?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do I have a motion in the affirmative or the negative on this application?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, let me read the thing so I say the right thing.
Yes, it's-
I will move to approve calendar 88024
Yes.
for all the reasons stated by the applicant, that it meets the positive criteria with a outweighing of the negative criteria.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let me get my list again. Mr. Bartlett.
Yay.
Mrs. Devine.
Yay.
Ms. Zadinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Gambrielli.
Yes.
Mr. Santaniello.
Yes.
Ms. Cobb.
Yes.
And Mr. Michaelman, yes. For the reason stated the last time, 1 month, 45 days, don't do anything until then. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, with that, we will call calendar 881-24, Lauria, 284 Genther Avenue.
It's motion speech. Yeah. You do it better. Right away, I go into it. For the right reasons.
No, it's fine. Remember, we're required to say it. Bob listens and he writes everything. That's why we get a good... Okay.
Good evening,
Sir.
Mr. Chairman. For the record, Bruce Whitaker from the firm McDonald Whitaker representing the applicant, Peter and Jerry Lynn Gloria, in connection with their seeking and request for variance relief. They're the owners of 284 Genther Avenue in Oradell, and shown on your tax map is block 1205, lot number 5. This property is in the R-4 zone. This property has on it a vintage house of probably the 1930s when zoning codes were not really thought of or even promulgated yet. And so it has a series of nonconformities. It has a deficient lot, and having an area of only 5,235 square feet, where you know in this zone, 7,500 is required. It only has 2/3 of the lot width is required, being 50 feet where 75 is required. We have a side yard setback that's non-conforming of 3.82 feet where 10 feet is required. And overall, we have the front yard setback that is also deficient. What the applicant is proposing is a 2-story addition to the rear. And I would suggest to you, in looking at this, much of it not readily discernible. There's 2 little cutouts in this house, as you can see, and they're basically being filled in what's being proposed. And the reason for it is to make it, bring it up to date and to make it much more usable and substantial for a family. With that said, the other issue that we have when you have a substandard lot like this, as far as area is concerned, is we have the very prevalent this evening FAR request. And in this instance, we're at 55.4%, whereas you know the 35% is the maximum for this. It's a D4 variance, and the criterion, as you are aware, under the D4 variance is to show that what we are making a request for here can still be accommodated on the lot, and it doesn't overburden the lot. We would submit to you that, on the basis of what you'll hear from our architect this evening, that this fits within the scope of the neighborhood itself. It doesn't overburden the lot and brings it up to today's standards. With that said, I would have Mr. Bello sworn in for purposes.
Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this proceeding shall be true, so help you God?
I do, yes.
Could we have your full name, please?
Yes, Scott Bella, B-E-L-L-A.
You are a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey?
Yes.
Have you previously been qualified in the field of architecture before any land use boards?
Many times throughout Bergen County.
Mr. Chairman, I think you can be accepted.
We do accept you as an expert witness.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bello, would you describe to the board what the existing conditions are and what is being proposed here?
So basically, the home is a very small dwelling. It's around 1,200 square feet. A lot of the rooms are very deficient in the sense that, the kitchen itself is roughly about 8 feet wide. It's a little small, little working kitchen. The upstairs bedrooms are small towards the front of the house, and basically the front wall is only about 4 foot high. So not only are they tiny rooms, but they're also crouching down to get to the front wall, so it's very difficult to furnish. We are looking to expand this dwelling. The larger addition that we are proposing is to the rear and somewhat on the side of the property. That all falls within the setbacks, the conforming setbacks. And then the second floor, we're looking to corner off the back area, which is non-conforming currently, and we're looking to maintain that exact same footprint, but just go directly straight up. And the same thing in the front in terms of our addition that we're proposing there. We're not looking to go above and beyond what's existing today, but again, we are non-conforming with those existing setbacks.
So with that said, as far as the non-conforming setbacks are concerned, let's talk in terms of the current encroachment to the side yard setback. It's at 3.82?
That is correct.
And based upon what you're proposing in that back corner, that will remain that way?
That's correct.
In connection with the front yard setback, this is a home built many years ago, very close to the road, as homes were built back in the day, correct?
Yes, correct.
And so we have a front yard setback encroachment at 6.89 feet?
6.83 is the title.
Okay. And at this point, are we exacerbating that condition?
We are not exacerbating, no.
Going to the architectural aspect of it, that front elevation, what is the streetscape going to look like based upon what you're proposing?
So currently, the home is a sort of a cape feel. We're looking to expand and go over the front portion of the house, create a gable with, horizontal siding, very much in context with the existing fabric of the block. There are about 2 houses to the right, 3 houses to the left, all of which are similar in feel in terms of roof lines and materials. So we're looking to conform in terms of architectural style and add some curb appeal to the front of our building.
So the entire outside facade, roofing, eaves, windows, et cetera, they would all be modified and brought up to today's standards?
That is correct, yes.
Safety windows on the second floor?
Yes, egress windows, of course, yes.
In connection with the other nonconformities, we currently have a building coverage, and what is it that we're proposing?
So the building coverage is 25% that is required. We're proposing 32.3%.
And that's basically based upon the additional coverage for your addition?
That is correct.
Now, one of the things that's particular with this substandard lot is that we also have quite a bit of impervious coverage. Isn't that correct?
It is because of the undersized lot. So 40% is the requirement, and we're at 56.0%.
And part of that also is recognized that a large part, over 600 square feet, pertains to a driveway to get to the detached garage to the rear?
That is correct, yes.
In connection with the FAR that we're proposing, explain what's there now and what is being proposed.
So currently, the requirement is 35%. The home is at 23.6%. With the addition, we're going up to 55.4%. And I just want to make a point that the coverage, building coverage, lot coverage, and floor area ratio, if in fact we had the required lot size, would all come under the requirements, so we wouldn't have to be here asking for those variances.
And then the final variance we're seeking is that we have a substandard distance between the proposed addition and the accessory structure of the garage. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
10 feet's required, and we are?
8.6, yes.
Okay. And from an architectural standpoint, safety standpoint, fire safety standpoint, can that be accommodated in that distance?
100%. 8.6 is a comfortable area to walk through. And proportionally or aesthetically, on this small of a lot, I think that it's not going to appear that tight in terms of, that walk-through space. But 8.5 feet is about 2.5 times the standard minimum width for a hallway, that kind of thing.
Now, you've been over to the site, obviously. You've been in the neighborhood itself.
Yes.
In your professional opinion, would you believe that the structure overall as proposed would be in keeping with the neighborhood scheme and not out of proportion with other properties in that area?
Yes, 100%. Again, similar roof lines, similar materials, similar window styles, so we would definitely be conforming with the context of the immediate block.
One of the things that's always concerned from a planning perspective when you're seeking side yard or front yard variances to that effect is the height of the building and the overall height and the imposing look of a house if it's too high. Well, what are we proposing here?
So we are proposing 31.4, I believe, 32-foot max, where 34 is the required, so we'll be a couple foot under that.
And as far as the rear is concerned, as far as the look from the rear, is it correct to say we have a rear lot line, a rear setback line that's greater than what's required?
Yes, it's at 40.2 back to the building, whereas 25 is the requirement.
And one of the other concerns with FAR and building coverage is the concern, besides aesthetics, which you already testified to, is that it would not overburden the lot, for instance, from a drainage perspective. So it's correct to say that there's no drainage improvements per se on this old house right now, but we will meet all the required standards for drainage, so that it will not be exacerbated.
Whatever the requirements are when we go for our building permits, whether it's seepage fit design to take on the additional water that is going to be hitting these new roof lines, we're going to be conforming.
Thank you.
We can make that a condition of any approval.
Certainly.
Great.
That's our presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Steve, any questions?
Yes, I do. The same question I had before. The distance from the to the next home on the north side, do you know what that is?
I do not. I don't have that information.
Do you have an estimate?
I don't, but I could take a quick look at some photos and maybe give you an estimate. So again, there's a driveway between the two, so that's roughly around 10 feet, and then I would say another 3 or 4 feet, so I would say 14 to 15 foot.
With your zoning letter denial that I issued, it's stated soil moving also. Do you know the quantities of soil that you're going to be moving?
I don't as of yet. I believe we had an engineer give us some information, and we'll be presenting that, of course, but I don't have those numbers with me.
We can make that a condition of any approval.
We engaged an engineer for that purpose.
Yeah.
Well, if it's over 100 cubic yards, then it needs to be approved by the board.
Okay.
You remember what you did with us?
We'll make that a condition of any approval. That they would have to come back to the
They
board.
would have to come back.
Right.
Okay.
If it's over 100 yards.
Right.
If total soil movement exceeds 100 cubic yards.
If it exceeds 100 cubic yards, they'd have to come back, yes.
Okay. The garage, being close to the new structure, would you be amenable to making that garage, those garage walls fire rated?
I would have no problem with that.
Okay.
It's easy change.
And the last question I have is the impervious coverage. You're proposing a patio in the back, and there's a paver that goes along the south side of the garage.
Yes.
What is the purpose of that walkway paver area back there?
I would have to defer to my client on that one. I'm not sure what they use it for.
Is there a need for it?
I don't believe there is, but again, I don't want to speak for them because I don't know how they use it.
Okay, and my other question would be the new proposed patio. Have you thought about proposing pervious pavers?
We would be amenable to that for sure, yes.
Okay, hold on. I think Mr. Whitaker wants to consult with his client.
That would be a condition of any approval too.
Favors are okay.
You would agree?
Put pervious in.
We can make.
Yes, okay.
Pervious pavers for the patio?
Yes.
Condition of approval?
Yes.
Yes.
And that walkway to the side?
And the walkway to the side?
That walkway has been there a long time.
You're gonna have to speak into the microphone.
We need to
Actually,
swear.
no,
Sworn in.
Yeah.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this proceeding shall be true, so help you God. Just
do
give us your
swear.
full name and spell your last name, please.
Geraldine, last name is Loria, Loria.
You have to speak into the mic, please.
My name is Geraldine Loria, last name Loria. So the pavers that are on the south side of the garage have been there a long time, and they could be removed. They've been there a long time. We put them in for garbage to keep it out of the way because it's so tight. We didn't want the neighbors to have the garbage, so we put it behind the garage. So to walk there in the winter to make it safe.
Well, the patio is going to be pervious, right? We talked about that.
Correct.
What else is going to be pervious? Anything else?
I think those
No.
Not the walkway.
The walkway on the south side of the garage is bricks that lift up. There's sand between them.
Would you like to keep those?
We'd like to,
Would you like to make them pervious?
yes.
Okay, so that would be a condition too, on the south side.
So you're going to be replacing the walkway?
We can make that a condition of, is what you're saying, yes.
Replacing the existing walkway on the south side.
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, Steve, are you finished with the questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman.
Bob, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Does any member of the board have any questions? Okay.
Oh, I do have one question.
Yeah, please.
I mean, what's the current FAR now? I know you're going to 55.4.
That'll be Scott to testify.
Current is 23.6.
Okay, so it's going from 23.6 to 55.4. So currently the FAR is compliant.
That is correct.
Okay. That's it? Okay. Any member of the board have any questions? Did you have a question? No?
No, just in terms of, I think you covered it, but just to reiterate it, when they, any condition would be with the, with the water runoff, to meet the current requirement, that would be an additional requirement when you have such a large area coverage, correct?
Absolutely, yes. It'd be a condition of approval. We meet all stormwater quality conditions and drainage that's required by the borough.
All right. Anyone else? All right. It was my sense in listening to the testimony that this lot actually, given its size, was basically zoned into disuse. And if you tried to put anything of a livable nature on here, you'd have to come up with all of these variances. Would you agree with that?
100%, yes. I mean, this, all said and done, the home in the end is only a little over 2,300 square foot home.
Thank you. Any member of the public have any questions? Not seeing a show of hands, I will close the meeting to the public. We'll go through and give you our thoughts, and then you can decide if you want us to bring it to vote. I'll start. I think this cries out for this approval. As I said, the property was zoned into disuse. If you want to do anything, you're before the board for variances. I don't see how we could say no to something that's required for livability. That's frankly as strong as I can make it. And so we'll start down here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. At a lot size of just over 5,000 square feet, there's not much that you can really work with there. Again, you kept it down. You could try to push the height a little bit, so I think there was some consideration to, again, not try to max it out as much as you can. So, yeah, I'd like to hear the rest of it.
Yeah, I would agree. This is a really challenging piece of property with the pre-existing nonconformities, and I think you've done a pretty remarkable job managing to give value to the house, sort of maintaining, the look and the feel of houses in the neighborhood without, going too big or too far, and expanding too much onto the lot. I think you kind of had your work cut out for you here, but I like the design of the house, and it strikes the proper balance. I don't think you went too far with making it bigger than the lot can handle.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with everyone so far. I think you're taking the house and setting it up to meet the expectations of yourselves and any future Oradell residents who want to live there.
No, I agree that working with a lot is a very difficult situation. It would have, nice to have the drainage plans and all with it to see, just to make sure we're not negatively impacting the neighbors and all. But it is a tight situation, and it's, as long as the codes are, ultimately met for the water runoff and not affecting the neighborhood.
Yes.
I agree with my colleagues on the board. It's a challenging lot. You're increasing the livability and usability of it.
Okay, thank you. Carlo?
And based on the constrictions you had, I think you did a real good job in trying to maximize the best you could.
Okay. Do you want us to, I have asked for the public. Would you like us to move to a vote?
Yes, please.
Okay, then do I have?
Chairman, before you start, I'm looking at the basement area and the height. It's 8 feet. You got footings and stuff. I would think that maybe might be over 100 cubic yards. Could you make that a condition that the board would approve that?
Can we set a limit, like say, go as much as 150 or just a?
Well, no, I'd keep it as it being over 100 cubic yards, but whatever the borough engineer requires, that they'll accept those conditions.
You're talking about soil.
Yeah,
Yes.
soil moving.
Soil
So
moving.
up to 100 cubic yards, they have approval. They don't have no need for the board.
We have the
Over
authority.
100.
Over 100 for the board.
Yes.
Okay.
So they don't have to come back
Yeah.
for another meeting.
Okay.
That.
But they would have to come back if it's over 100, right?
No,
That's
this
what
is
he's saying.
being over 100.
Oh,
If
okay.
it is over 100, then the board will approve it.
Yes.
Well, this evening, you'll approve it.
Yes,
Yeah.
predicated upon the borough engineer.
Yeah.
For borough
yeah.
engineer requirements.
Yeah, we'll agree with whatever the borough engineer says. We're very easy people. All right, so you have the conditions.
I do. I just want to be sure that the applicant concurs with all of the numbers in Mr. Defkin's letter. Are there any issues?
No. The items 1 through 8, no.
Yeah, the front yard is 6.38 feet. That's what's shown on the table, and that's shown on the plan as well, I believe. Actually, no, I see 6.83. Is it 6.83 or 6.38?
is the number.
It's 6.83?
Yeah, in any event.
So in the table, it's reversed at 6.38. So it should be,
That might be an error then.
it should be 6.83?
3, yeah, whatever's on the plot plan is correct.
Okay, because the zoning table has 6.38. That threw me
I reversed
off.
the number, sorry.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Okay. I'll make the motion. I would move that we approve the application and for all of the reasons stated with conditions also stated. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Moving right along. Again, Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Mr. Devine,
Yes.
Ms. Zadinsky,
Yes.
Mr. Camparelli,
Yes.
Mr. Santaniello,
Yes.
Ms. Cobb,
Yes.
and Mr. Michaelman, yes. Once again, we'll approve it at the next meeting, 45 days afterwards. Don't do anything until then.
Understood.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time,
Yes.
thank you.
And I'll know, I had anticipated at best an hour, and we did it in an hour.
I was thinking a half to 45 for each one.
Yeah.
So that's why I adjourned. We conferred, we didn't want to start at like 9:30, 9:45 with Bergen County United Way. So
Yeah, I know, but
I
okay.
guess you can thank me if any of you are Philadelphia Eagles fans, because I guess that's the game. Not me, I'll tell you that.
We'll see you next month.
We'll see you then in October.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I just got a notice from the office. It's 162. There is a soil application that was submitted.
That's right, I think it was by
Oh,
Mr.
yes.
Costa. Yeah.
Okay?
Okay,
So we're
we'll-
approving 162
That's what it says.
per borough engineer. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Who's that, Gabby sent it to you?
of course.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, moving right along. New business. Oh, I'm sorry, first old business. Steve?
Yes, the financial disclosure statement, that seems to be a big issue in the state, and they're mandating that all board members and employees submit this. There's some board members that haven't done it, and there's fines that have gone out, so the state has indicated. I would suggest those board members contact the borough clerk's office, talk to Melissa, and try to get some information. They might be able to, contact the state and let them know that there was some issues with the email address not going out or things like that. Can we get that information in without having a fine?
Okay, yeah, well, let's hope. And these board members have been notified, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
The big problem is the borough emails, and not everybody checks those borough emails all the time. It's really something you need to do. I don't know whether you can connect it somehow of a notice coming up that something comes up on the borough email, that doesn't require an Oprah request going to your personal email.
Yeah, that's the problem, because I think there's a way of having, if an email comes to you, you could automatically have it transferred to your personal email, but then you've got the problem with Oprah requests. So that's
I
why.
tried that, actually, to forward the
Yeah.
emails from the org address to my Gmail.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting emails for like a month.
Really?
So I said, this is not working. I don't know where those emails went.
Steve has them.
But
No, I got rid of them.
I unchecked the box to forward my emails to
Okay.
another email address, and I was
Yeah.
going to ask someone about that.
Yeah, and I have it on my phone so that I've got several email mailboxes there. That might be, if you have these electronic devices, frankly, just have a number of email boxes.
So can we add the Oradell.r
Sure, yeah.
on the phone?
Sure, I have it on my phone and iPad.
Yeah. Just download the Outlook app. That's how I have it, Microsoft Outlook.
Yeah, I forget how I did it. It was years
Can
ago.
they?
You need to authentic, isn't there the secondary
The dual-factor,
confirmation? Yeah,
oh, yeah, there
that's what
could
messed
be,
me
yes.
up. There's
Oh, the
some
multi-factor?
Oh,
second
yes. That's new.
confirmation.
Yeah, that's new.
That
Oh,
kind of
it's
threw
new.
me off.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to talk to the
Still
borough
can do it.
clerk's office and, straighten that out. Yeah, that's been an issue.
Yeah.
But if you do have it on your phone as another email, I mean, is that device Oprah accessible?
Well, it's the, I frankly, I would
It
assume
could be,
is.
yeah.
I would assume it is, yes.
I think it's not a unique copy stored on the phone. It's just really a portal to the cloud server, which is the O365 account. I
Right,
think, for the-
because it would be the same thing. The email coming into my computer, the computer is Oprah available then.
You have
So the
to
only
recheck it.
Yeah, the only
Why
way.
it's best to
right.
use the borough email. Don't use the personal
No,
email
I'm
for any
saying,
borough business.
but the borough email comes onto my computer. So if somebody really wanted to, they can go to the computer. They can seize my computer, so to speak, or my phone, or my iPad. Now my watch. I mean, a number of things that they could ask for. But it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me for them to do it. But it does make a lot of sense because when I get emails, frankly, I know within an hour or so because I'm one of those obsessive people who's always looking at my phone.
In the middle of the night, probably, too, right?
Pretty close. But since I retired, not quite as much as I used to.
Or like me, I have 3 phones.
How do you do it?
I used to have 2, but yeah, that would be fun. Anyway, I'll save something for myself for later. Do we have any other old business? Any new business? No new business. All right. I'll speak again about the concept of a combined board. As I mentioned last time, there's been no action on it one way or the other, therefore it's still under consideration. As I mentioned last time, the zoning board would be abolished, and the planning board would take over all of its duties and responsibilities. There are big differences between the boards. The primary difference in this circumstance would be, whereas the zoning board is appointed by the mayor but approved by the council, the planning board is appointed by the mayor and the council is informed. in effect, by doing this, the council would be voting itself into near irrelevance, because I think they get one member that they appoint.
Class 3.
The Class 3 member is appointed by the council. Other than that, the Class 1, which is the mayor, he appoints himself generally. The Class 2, which would be another borough official. And then the members of the public who serve, also appointed by the mayor. The council is informed, but they don't say yes or no. So the mayor has total control over the municipal land use board. There would not be boards anymore. What I want to say about that is not to be taken in terms of the current mayor or the current chairman of the planning board, because I've served with both of them, and I know them to be good, honorable people. But if you do this, you're opening door for developers just at the point where we're hitting a new round of fair share housing. Developers looking at this, obviously they're going to want to talk to the mayor and say, here's our plans, and if he agrees with it and thinks, yeah, that would be great for Oradell, they could come up, appoint people who share that same vision. Now, here on the zoning board, I can tell you I've never seen us share the same vision. We were unanimous tonight, but those are fairly easy cases. I can think of one case we had fairly recently. It went to court, where I voted yes, and the board voted no. This board is independent, and I think that's important. But in the future, you can have a mayor, and perhaps a mayor and a member of the planning board who see things in the developer's way and might receive the benefit of the developer's generosity. Does that happen in the state of New Jersey? Well, we've had a United States senator who received cash, car, and gold bars. Is it beyond the realm of possibility that someone would want to do that with a local official?
It's happened in the past.
It has happened in the past.
Not here, of course, but...
No. As I say, I believe in the integrity of the individuals who currently serve. But as I said last time also, this basically is in perpetuity. Once this happens, it stays that way unless the members of the public go to the polls and vote to change it. We have the experience to know that it's better to have two boards. Frankly, if I didn't have this experience and someone told me you wanted to have more government, I would say no, because I don't believe in more government. I think you only have to have the proper amount, the correct amount of government. I think we have it right now. But if it was only one board and you're telling me you wanted to go to two, I'd say no. So I oppose the idea of eliminating the zoning board and moving on to just one board under the control, almost the total control of one person. And once again, I will state, I am not trying to protect my own position, because if this happens, it would happen probably next year. My time on this board ends. I have 3 more meetings, and that's it. After 20 years, I'm gone. So I'm stating this from the standpoint of what I believe is best for the borough. It has nothing to do with me. Whether they say yes or no, it's the same to me, other than the fact that as a resident, I think I would not be as well served by having one board as I am by having 2. And that's my piece. Does anybody have anything they wish to state?
Well, if you would say, would you accept the gold bar?
What do you do with the gold bar when you get one?
How do you get a gold bar?
Bicep curls.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you what I do with mine. No, frankly, I don't know what I would do with a gold bar other than put it in my safe deposit box.
You can't take it to the store and buy clothes with it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
chip pieces off.
That's it. Yeah, no. Frankly, I have no idea what you could do with it except put it in your closet as he did.
I'm ashamed to say I've never seen one until this trial that you alluded to. I
Yeah.
saw pictures of it in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to know remotely one of the co-defendants, who I'll tell you off the record about that.
Okay. All right, but,
Or a good inflation.
okay. But anyway, I hope that members of the council will consider this carefully. I don't know if they watch this meeting. I would prefer not to go before the council and say these things. Not that I'm afraid of it. I don't go out at night, other than to go to this meeting. And I'm frankly not kidding about that. I have no social life other than this meeting. Okay. No? All right. Does anybody have anything else to add? No? Then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Do I have a second?
Sure.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Meeting adjourned. It is 8:45.